Hello, my name is Crystal Sutton, and I'm going to be talking about the issue of poverty in early childhood education. I do want to start off with statistics just to prove that poverty is an issue that's happening within early childhood education classrooms today. The latest census data reveal that in 2010, more than 1 out of every 5 U.S. children lived in poverty conditions. This would mean that if in your first grade classroom you had 20 students, that 4 of them could be dealing with poverty at home. This is not going to be true for every single classroom, but as an educator, you will need to know that there are students dealing with these different conditions. Early childhood is the single most prolific period of development for children. 90% of a child's brain growth occurs between birth and the age of 3. So when the child is between these ages, they are needing to be exposed to certain things so that they can make the connections, such as being read to or different vocabulary, or just being taught different things. So if they are not exposed to this, it may affect them later on in your classroom. So it's going to be a little more challenging to go ahead and teach them what they need to know at that age. Low-income communities, children under school Low-income communities' children enter school an average of 12 to 14 months behind their peers from higher income brackets. So this could mean that if you have a first grade student, they may be reading at a kindergarten level. So you then have to pull them up to a first grade level, which will be a little bit harder than a student that is at their current level. So this may not be true for every student that lives in a low-income community, but it may be true for some, so you need to understand that. Dealing with statistics, sometimes they are not as accurate as needed, so you just need to know about statistics and take it into account for whatever you're dealing with, but not every single child is going to be a statistic. So, how does poverty affect the students we teach? There are different issues that come with children living in poverty just due to lack of resources or stressors at home or just different stuff that's going on that you may not even be aware of. The first issue I'm going to speak about is language development. Children learn language early on, especially as I mentioned earlier that they have that huge brain growth when they're born. It already starts and all the way up to however old they get, and they have a lot of brain growth going on between 0 and 3, so they're learning all this different stuff. But if they're not exposed to the language, then they may not know certain things that you're trying to teach them. They may not know how to communicate something. They may not understand what you're communicating to them, so then there's this kind of language barrier. And they may also have a lack of words in their vocabulary, which makes it a lot harder for them to express different things. This also ties in with behavior issues, because if a student is not getting attention at home just due to their parents working or different stuff going on like that, then they may try to get attention in the classroom by acting a certain way. This is also a big thing, if they express bad behavior or don't pay attention to it, don't feed into it, because they're going to continue the behavior if it does get them the attention. They could also not know how to express what they need, so they may act a certain way, like hit and different stuff, because they're trying to get your attention and say, hey, I need this, get me this. And they may also have not been taught how to deal with their classmates, so you kind of have to go in and redirect the behavior from what they previously knew how to act. They may also have a lack of routine or disorganization. This may be because their home life is disarrayed and they're just trying to stay afloat, and there may not be a set routine. It may just be day by day trying to get through that day and get to the next one. So they may not be used to the actual routine that you have within the classroom, so it's just going to take repetition and them getting used to it and understanding the idea of routine. They usually probably will have busy parents, just because If they're living in a poverty-stricken home, they may be trying to just keep a roof over the head of their child and just keep things going. There may be single-parent homes where it's just a mom or dad. Even if there's two parents, they may each be working 2, 3 jobs, just trying to get everything to stay in order and keep going. Home instability, they may not have a stable home or a place to stay. They may be staying at grandparents' house, cousin's house, aunt's house, uncle's house, all these different places to just try to have a roof and different things that they need, but they may not know where they're going to do their homework that night. They may not know where they're going to sleep that night. They may have all these different issues going on at home that makes it really hard for them to focus at school or get work done at home. They may also feel socially separated because the children may point them out if they don't have the best clothes, if they don't have the newest cell phone, if they don't have the cell phone at all, if they don't have a pair of scissors. So as a teacher, you have to go ahead and try to socialize all of these different children together and teach them to respect one another, keep a healthy environment, be supportive of keeping the children socially together. So that's another issue in the classroom, is trying to make sure that they feel a part of the group and the environment and the community. So, with all of these issues coming into the classroom due to the poverty in the home life, how do we as educators kind of solve these issues, or at least mediate them and help them and get the children to where they need to be? First off, you need to listen to what they have to say. The student will express what's going on, hopefully, if you listen to them and let them talk and understand what they're going to, and try to come up with solutions with the student and just make sure that they're learning in whatever way possible. You need to provide the resources necessary to complete work. If you're sending homework home, you need to make sure that they have the resources to do these homework assignments. So if you know that most of the kids in your class do not have things like poster board or markers or anything like that, just try to work with what they have, or give them what they need to go ahead and do all of these different assignments. Also, make sure you keep high expectations and believe in your students. You should treat every student the same and keep high expectations for every single one of them. Just because they come from a low-income home does not mean that you need to lower their expectations or expect less from them, because they are just as capable as someone who comes from a high-income home. Also, you need to make sure that they know that you believe in them. Make sure that you express that they're great and that they can do all these different things, because that's so important that they know that they can, and you make sure that they think that of themselves. Do not tolerate teasing. If some of the children are picking on other children, you do need to make sure that the teasing stops. If children are coming into your room with different things that other students find funny, like clothes or mainly just stuff like that the children do notice at that young of an age, just make sure that it's expressed that that's not acceptable. Keep an emergency pack with the necessities and help them get what they need. When I say emergency pack, I don't mean if they get hurt or anything. I mean a pack with like deodorant or a hairbrush or wipes or something to just make sure that they're school ready and that they smell okay and that they're able to get through their school day. Stay persistent and motivated. The teacher is the #1 resource in the room. You have to be persistent and make sure that you're taking that student there, that you're helping them get to where they need to be. You need to stay motivated and believe in yourself, and believe that this child can do everything that they set out to do. And don't feel discouraged if they don't reach the exact mark as all the other students, because they started in one place and they still grew to another. And as long as you've tried your best and you took that child to where they needed to be, or where they could get to their full potential, and then they can continue on growing, then you are doing your job. Make sure you involve parents as much as possible and understand their situation. Parents are going to know a lot more of the situation and what's going on, and they may be protecting their child and not telling them everything. So if you talk to the parents, then they may tell you something that you did not know previously. You have to understand their situation, because every parent's situation, every student's situation is going to be different, and you as the teacher are there to monitor and assess and decide what to do in order to carry this child and take them to a certain point, and then they can keep growing and growing on them by themselves at the same time. Once you understand the situation, you can keep in communication with that parent and work together as a team to get this student to where they need to be. No judgment. No judgment is huge because you need to make sure you're not judging the situation just based on what you're seeing. Just understand that everyone's going through different things, and that no matter what, the child is the main focus. This is a classroom focused on the child, not what you think, not what anyone thinks, but just the fact that this child needs to learn. So I went over the issue of poverty in early childhood classroom because these young children are coming into your classroom and they're coming from homes where poverty can be a big thing. There's different things going on that you're going to have to figure out and kind of just gauge and help all of them through as the educator. So that is my PowerPoint. Thank you.